The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is supported in part by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, conserving the wild things and wild places of Texas thanks to members across the state.
Additional funding provided by the Toyota Tundra. Your local Toyota dealers are proud to support outdoor recreation and conservation in Texas. Adventure is what we share. Funding also provided by Academy Sports and Outdoors, helping hunters, anglers, and outdoor enthusiasts of all ages get outside. Out here, fun can't lose.
Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
It's just one of those magical things in the animal kingdom that an insect lights up. I mean, how amazing is that?
It takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience, self-patience, to learn how to fly these darn things.
Out here we see the mule deer, elk, blue quail, javelina, quite an assortment.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
When you were younger, do you remember seeing fireflies in the spring and early summer? Well, we still have fireflies in Texas, and if you were lucky enough to have the right habitat, you can see them even in your yard. One interesting fact, a firefly is not actually a fly.
Fireflies are not flies. They are in fact beetles, and they belong to the family Lampyridae. They get confused for flies because they fly around, but no, fireflies are beetles. Fireflies light up as a form of sexual communication. It's males that are really trying to signal to females. And they're trying to be the brightest and have the longest flashes in order to impress the females. And the females are looking at those flashes and responding to that different variation in male flash timing and picking the best and the brightest in order to mate with. Fireflies in Texas are around about 90% of the state, believe it or not. They occur all across different ecoregions in the state, and you can find them down south towards the coast, South Texas. Some of the highest concentrations are in East Texas and Central Texas.
Most fireflies prefer environments that are warm, humid, and wet. But if you look carefully, you can find them in some locations you might not expect them to be.
That's cool. Yeah. The adults look a lot like my... Today we are at Chinati State Natural Area, and it's a site that doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's a location that has a lot of really unique habitats. We're looking for an endemic species of firefly that's only found in West Texas. So we've set up a black light here. We're gonna have that run tonight. Some of the fireflies that we're after will come to UV light, and we'll wait till it gets dark and wait for the fireflies to start flashing. We're out with the Xerxes Society for Invertebrate Conservation to try and add more observations of this species and just learn more about its life history, its flash patterns, and really just trying to learn more about what this species requires as far as habitat in West Texas.
It's been amazing, just the diversity of invertebrates and insects and the community of firefly species that we find here. The mix of firefly species is really totally different than other parts of the country. It's really exciting to get to know these species better.
You might have fireflies in your own backyard, but you need to take some steps to protect them.
Pesticides do kill insects, and it's important to identify what kind of pesticides are going into your property. And one of the things you can do with your local pest control company, if you don't want to eliminate pesticides completely, is to have an active role in telling them where you want them to spray. If you let them choose where they're going to spray, they might just go ahead and spray everything and kill out any beneficial insects that might be in your property. So it's really important to just say, hey, I want you only to spray on my foundation and don't spray any native or wild areas that are surrounding my house. If we're a little bit conscious and thoughtful about how we apply those pesticides, it can go really far to help fireflies, but other beneficial insects as well.
When you limit your use of pesticides, you help a whole range of pollinators, like native bees, butterflies, and one pollinator you might not know about, moths.
They're like moving the heat, there's so many of them.
Yeah, like they're just like all hanging on to the branches. I've never seen them in such abundance though.
I've never seen this many, ever. I don't know which species it is. We're not entirely sure which species it is. So yesterday we found what could be a new species.
Look at her tiny wing pads.
Tiny wing.
She's so little.
Oh, so cool.
Oh my God, she's awesome.
There's been so little work done in this part of the state. They're also difficult to distinguish between the species, so we'll get it off to an expert and get their opinion on its status.
So what are some of the things that you can do to help fireflies? If you've got a yard, one of the things that you can do is start planting native plants. And the reason why that's really helpful is it helps retain soil moisture. If you can introduce a water feature to your yard, you can help dampen any light pollution that is coming off of your property. Light pollution for fireflies is bad because it prevents them from being able to communicate with each other. If they can't communicate with each other, then they can't basically mate and produce offspring. So we really want to create as dark a habitat as possible to help fireflies.
So what we do, we don't ever use any pesticides. We don't mow very often, but we do let the leaf litter accumulate on the ground, especially within our native section that we have in the back. We have all these native plants around here to help encourage the pollinators. And then whenever we trim our trees, we put the extra limbs inside our little bunched areas and let those kind of decompose so that that rotten wood can actually be some nutrients and housing for some other insects. We kind of allow nature to grow from the bottom up by leaving it alone.
Leaf litter serves a lot of purposes for fireflies. It's usually the place where the larvae are going to be present. And this kind of leaf litter that occurs in your yard or in a natural habitat is fireflies' home. It provides habitat for the larvae, but also for the food that fireflies eat as well. So snails, slugs, worms, little insects. As larvae, they're incredibly predacious. And when they're crawling along the forest floor, this is where they're going to find that food. So by encouraging leaf litter to build up in a habitat, we're helping fireflies.
I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and to see their faces whenever they go and catch the fireflies, that's just joy for everyone.
It's really fascinating how they just glow when like we see one here. Oh wait, there's another one over there. We zigzag around the place. It's beautiful.
And they're really cool since they have lights. It's basically the only bug that has a light. It's really cool.
It's just one of those magical things in the animal kingdom that an insect lights up. I mean, how amazing is that?
This way?
Yeah.
Well, this is Lake Whitney State Park. We're about 35 miles north of Waco. We're out here at the old airport. And so now the RC Club and other people that like to fly RC that come down to visit have this facility to use for flying models.
The runway is perfect. It's an asphalt runway, gives us plenty of room for takeoff and landings. And then you have all the members, they're just so great. They're all like family.
Are you going to fly that twin today?
I'm going to try.
Did you get
played with the
throttles fixed?
I played with the...
We actually have to assemble or build the airplane. This tank here is actually smoke for a smoke system. Just needs a good pilot to fly it. Once you get it completed, your heart rate really goes up and you get to see what you put together, you know, in flight.
It takes a lot of practice and a lot of self-patience to learn how to fly these darn things.
The very first one I built took me about 3 months to build. My flight lasted 30 seconds or less, and I crashed. And so I had to take a step back and get a trainer and take baby steps to learn to fly.
I had to basically teach myself how to fly because I didn't have anybody to teach me, so we had a few accidents along the way. But once I learned how to fly it was like being free.
We're off. Crank and run. Guys, you're welcome to take a look. Yep. Actually, the ignition for the engine. This is the battery that runs that ignition. I have a pump right here is actually coming off the smoke tank. Now that I'm at this point that I get to share all that with hopefully some new blood at some point, you know, getting into the hobby, it makes you feel good. Okay, I will remember that. Actually, what I'll do, I'll see if I can get some stickers and put his name like.
That would be fun.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? I'll do that. Landsley. You got it.
We build them from the ground up. You watch it go from 0 to 140 miles an hour. It just feels good to see the end product.
The first flight I was quite tense. Of course, you got onlookers and all that, even though I guess I would call myself an experienced pilot. Your heart rate goes up, and when you get it up in the air and you perform, it's just a good feeling. Good, clean fun.
There's my dad.
That's your dad?
Mm-hmm. He looks like he's, what, about 2? Sort of been 1932. My grandparents bought this ranch in 1930. I'm Lou Cowden Edwards, and we are on the Cowden Ranch in the north end of Jeff Davis County in far West Texas.
We've been married 35 years, and it works great. We know each other's strengths, we know each other's weaknesses.
Tim's a great worker. He's a good delegator, too.
Out here we see the mule deer, elk, blue quail, coyotes, javelina, bobcats, mountain lions, quite an assortment.
There are just too many things to love. I love the animals that are here. I love the cattle that we've raised. The goal is preservation and preserving everything that lives here. It's organized pretty well as using it for pasturage or for livestock.
There's about 35 miles of pipeline on this ranch. When it starts getting hot, you start getting airlocks, you've got to run your line every day.
My father put in many, many miles of pipeline to have water everywhere. There's a lot of maintenance, and Tim and I also have been replacing water lines. And Tim shoveled out a 2-mile ditch all by himself.
Our rainy season is iffy at best. We always have to make sure that the cattle have water, that the wildlife have water. The guzzlers, that was an experiment because we wanted to get water up high. And in the last 5 years, we've had so many aoudad move in that even when those things fill up, those aoudad will drink them down overnight.
30 years ago, they were just barely a blip. And now, you know, they'll move into an area and they'll just camp out there.
They're definitely a nuisance, and I mean, they are tearing up the landscape. I mean, you can just see in parts of West Texas, just mountains are just completely peeled. They compete with our bighorn sheep and mule deer for diet and for space. Tim and Lou do a really good job of controlling those populations, and they see that as a holistic approach.
Those are deer tracks right here and then right there. Maintenance is the main part of ranching. I tell people I'm in charge of maintenance because that's pretty much what I do.
It's really just Tim and Lou who are on this ranch doing everything, and they pour their heart and soul in it. And so I think that's what makes it really special, is the love that they have for this landscape.
Look at that.
Look at Guadalupe Peak over there.
You can't have a place like this and not share it. You know, you have people come here and they look around and they go, wow, this is just so beautiful.
The funnest thing we do is the Texas Parks and Wildlife youth hunt. And we've been doing it for 8 years, I believe. I think that's right. And it's the funnest hunt we do, to see the excitement in those kids. And we have kids that have never shot anything before, and they just light up like a Christmas tree.
We've had kids that have never hunted before, and they're shooting a mule deer buck for the first time and not knowing that there's elk in Texas or seeing Montezuma quail. So it's really cool, especially for these kids from San Antonio, Houston, who don't even know that we have mountains in Texas.
That's mine and Tim's favorite hunt. And it's amazing, you know, that people see what you see.
Just every day is a new day, and it's a blessed day. There's not a day that Lou and I don't say we are truly blessed to be here.
Since I was a small girl, I kept imagining that I would live here, make my living here. So I guess I'm just kind of living my dream. I can't think of a better place to go to work every day.
People just love Caddo Lake. Caddo Lake gets in your blood. It's like a prehistoric environment with the bald cypress trees and the Spanish moss hanging down. It's beautiful and people love it. When it's under attack like this, it really alarms people. This is a wetland of international significance. And we're involved in a desperate fight to save it from this most aggressive plant in the world.
Giant salvinia is a threat to Caddo Lake. I'm Tim Bister, and I'm a fisheries biologist for Texas Parks and Wildlife. Caddo Lake is known as the only natural lake in Texas, so it is one of our gems that we really want to be able to protect. Giant salvinia is a floating aquatic fern from South America. It grows very rapidly. It can actually double in size in 4 to 7 days. Giant salvinia first showed up in Caddo Lake in 2006 on the Louisiana side at one of the boat ramps. The worst year that we've had, there was about 6,000 acres of giant salvinia covering the Texas side of Caddo Lake. That's about half of the water that we have. There were areas that were so completely covered by giant salvinia and the plants growing on top of the salvinia mats that it looked like dry land. The main river channel that travels through Caddo Lake was completely covered by giant salvinia. There were many areas that you couldn't get a boat through. There were lots of people that were very concerned about the lake. And it was a year that growth was so bad, there just really wasn't a lot that could be done.
You can see where they've sprayed. There's lots of dead. Dead is good. I'm John Van Dyson. I'm an aquatic invasive species biologist. This is an area where we sprayed. State contractors had come in here and done some herbicide treatments on this and really pushed the salvinia back. And then we're using a combination of both the systemic herbicide that'll circulate throughout the plant, as well as a contact herbicide that just burns wherever it touches. It's still slowly dying, falling out. What green plant is alive, our contractors are coming in and spraying.
The best strategy for invasive species management is using an integrated approach, using as many tools in your toolbox to control a situation.
We've been using a combination of herbicides here recently with great success in the management of the species and being able to maintain the open water. In addition to that, we've been trying for well over a decade now of using biocontrol, the giant Salvinia weevil. It's a species-specific weevil, just feeds on giant Salvinia and can control it. We've seen control out here in several places. Parks and Wildlife raises and releases their own weevils, but we really need a lot of people doing that. And here recently, the Caddo Biocontrol Alliance has stepped up, releasing large numbers of weevils to help with this control.
We are in uncertain Texas at Caddo Lake, and what we are doing is raising giant Salvinia weevils to control the giant Salvinia plant, the invasive aquatic plant that is trying to take over Caddo Lake. We wanted to build this greenhouse, mass produce these weevils and get them out onto the water in large numbers as we can. We're weevil ranchers. These are the tanks where we grow the giant Salvinia. We introduce the weevils onto the Salvinia here in a controlled environment. We raise them, and when the population gets to the right level, we actually take the Salvinia from here, put it into totes, go out to where the giant Salvinia is, and release these weevils into the environment. It's hot, hard work. And this greenhouse in the summertime is extremely hot. And Texas summers, you know, the temperature gets up over 100 degrees. It takes people who really love the environment, who love the lake and love the area, to give so much time and work and effort and sweat to protect the lake. Morning. How y'all doing?
All these are going on the pontoon, right?
A lot of those people are the local people that live and utilize the lake out here. They care because they live out here. They're out here every day, and this is their home. They pour their heart and soul into managing this Salvinia in the lake to keep it from taking over.
Oh, it's beautiful. And the water, since the grass has died, the water is perfect all over the lake to fish. It's a great place. It's a magical lake. Isn't it, Leah?
I think the future of Caddo is bright. I think a lot of people are going to be able to enjoy the lake like they always did, like the good old days they talked about. It's extremely brittle, but something was eating on it. We are seeing evidence of either a moth larva or the weevil damage itself.
It is frustrating having an invasive species that just won't go away, knowing that no matter what we do, we're never going to get rid of giant Salvinia at Caddo Lake. But I do have the hope that our efforts are going to help continue to keep boaters having the ability to get around the lake, to have anglers still have their places that they like to fish. Native plants will come back. Fish will be able to use more of the lake. Ducks will have open water to land on. It's all tied together.
Next time on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
The ovens came west with the pioneers.
It was a quick and easy way to use the coals from your fire to make an oven out of a pot.
I am the 4th generation, and I think that's really special that through all the hard times and hardships that we've been able to keep it together as a working ranch.
I like to challenge myself in a lot of situations, to test my limits and see what I can do.
That's next time on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is supported in part by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, conserving the wild things and wild places of Texas thanks to members across the state.
Additional funding provided by the Toyota Tundra. Your local Toyota dealers are proud to support outdoor recreation and conservation in Texas. Adventure, it's what we share. Funding also provided by Academy Sports and Outdoors, helping hunters, anglers, and outdoor enthusiasts of all ages get outside. Out here, fun can't lose.